The escalating Iran-Israel conflict has put the United States in a very interesting position. It's facing a lot of pressure from the Israelis to intervene, even as Donald Trump claims that he's seeking to avoid another costly entanglement in West Asia. At the heart of the dilemma is, of course, the question, will America get sucked into the Iran-Israel war? Now, the American President Donald Trump has said that the United States has complete control over the skies over Iran. Now, Trump has called for the unconditional surrender from Iran and has said that he knows exactly where the Iranian Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, is, but he claims that the United States will not assassinate him. In a post on Truth Social, Donald Trump said, and I quote him, "Iran had good sky trackers and other defensive equipment and plenty of it, but it doesn't compare to the American manufactured, conceived stuff. Nobody does it better than the good old USA." He also hailed the use of American manufactured military hardware without explicitly mentioning the Israelis who are using the American weapons in fighting this war. Now, Trump's remarks have come just hours after he said that he wants to end the Israel-Iran war and not go in for a ceasefire. Now, the American embassy in the state of Israel has been struck by an Iranian missile. The first strike on an American diplomatic facility in this conflict points at escalating concerns that are bigger than ever before. Though at least so far, the U.S. has spoken of restraint, there is no denying that there are some very powerful forces that are pushing America deeper into an all-out war by jumping into the Israeli bandwagon. Now, firstly, Israel's call, Prime Minister Netanyahu has formally requested the United States military to target Iran's deeply buried Fordo uranium enrichment site. The Israeli officials have confirmed that they simply do not have the capability to destroy this facility without the help of the Americans. Now, secondly, there is mounting domestic political pressure on President Trump from within his own party. Former Vice President Mike Pence has stated that if Israel needs U.S. help to destroy Iran's nuclear program, then the United States should be prepared to do it, calling Israel its most cherished ally. The Republican senators and hawks in Washington have urged Donald Trump to go all in, including providing bombs or flying with Israel, and not to be missed the direct attacks on American interests, such as the attack on the embassy in Tel Aviv. Now, looking forward, Tehran could also attack international shipping in the Gulf or the Red Sea, triggering a global energy crisis and potentially forcing the U.S. intervention. But all of that hasn't happened yet. Now, the Americans entering into the conflict carries immense potential dangers. Iran has vowed retaliation against any country that joins in the war on behalf of the Israelis. There are 40,000 American soldiers who are stationed in West Asia with their bases, embassies and naval vessels that could face immediate missile attacks from Iran or their proxies. And if Iran feels that its government is threatened, then it could, of course, accelerate its nuclear program to develop a weapon, leading to an even more dangerous security landscape. And also an economic fallout would be pretty global. Now remember, the Strait of Hormuz, which is a crucial choke point for about 20% of the global oil, could become a direct war zone, causing energy prices to spike, and this could destabilize the global markets. Now, tensions continue to simmer. Israel is, of course, not pulling back, and the Iranians are hitting the Israelis pretty hard. And the risk of a regional war spiraling out of control, with the Americans jumping on the bandwagon, is very clear. Now, this crisis could very well define President Trump's second term, because remember, Donald Trump had been calling himself the President of Peace, someone who would take the Americans out of these forever wars. But here he is on the brink of joining another all-out war. So Iran and Israel are locked in aerial warfare. With diplomatic stalemate and tensions showing no signs of easing, experts are weighing in on what could be the future of this Iran-Israel conflict. Listen in.
I believe President Trump's preference, strong preference, is diplomacy.
and to avoid getting the U.S. involved in another war. And I think the door is still open to diplomacy with Iran. Iran was made a very generous offer in which the U.S. would have supported a peaceful nuclear program with a system that would have provided it with nuclear fuel, nuclear reactors, nuclear medicines. But Iran wanted to continue its program, the only purpose of which is making nuclear weapons. And Trump has decided he can't go along with that. And obviously, that was Israel's decision.
It's concerning. However, let me tell you, there is a model. I think when he said unconditional surrender, that probably means it's the model of what happened in Libya when they tried to pursue the basically nuclear plant, which is basically they dismantled the plant and they had to ship it under the IEAI, and it has to be tracked. So it has to be a full surrender of the nuclear program that Iran is pursuing. This is how I would translate this message. Also remember that Donald Trump does play with the psychology to put pressure on the leaders of these kind of countries and to create anxiety among the people. So today, if the Iranian people, the noble Iranian people, if they rise, probably the chances for them is to turn over the regime is higher than before. That if it's going to happen, I'm saying. But it is a mix of many things that psychologically is the President Donald Trump is playing. So he's putting out all his cards. He's putting out all his threats before actually he fires one bomb on Iran.
What I think the Trump administration is trying to do is push back on criticism that Trump has been getting, particularly from voices on the right. People like Tucker Carlson, who has criticized Trump's hawkish stance vis-a-vis Iran, saying that that's not in the definition of America First. Trump has pushed back on that. He said he has campaigned on preventing Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. This goes back actually as far back as his 2016 campaign, when he was criticizing the Obama nuclear deal, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, otherwise known as the JCPOA. And he's remained relatively consistent through then. So what Trump is doing with this set of documents is saying, it's not me who's changed my tune. I've been for this all along, and this remains American policy going forward.
Look, if we are going to get involved militarily, it's for two reasons. One is if Iran attacks any U.S. personnel, whether those are in Iraq or in any of our other U.S. military bases in the region. The other would be if there's something that Israel cannot do that is necessary to actually eliminate Iran's nuclear program. If that's the case, I think the United States can and will step in and do the final thing. Iran might try to intervene militarily, but at this point, they have very few capabilities to actually do much harm at all.